Just what we needed to hear. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome to Harriman, Utah, Zions Bank Stadium today for Major League Rugby. This is a big one. The Utah Warriors taking on the Houston SaberCats. It's a big one. I'm Jeremy Jordan alongside former Eagle, Brian Hightower. And Brian, the Warriors can make the playoffs today. Austin is watching this with great interest.
Absolutely. Austin has played all 8 of their matches. There's nothing they can do now. It's out of their hands. Utah 1 point back of them in the stands, and today is the day that they try to get their spot in the playoffs cemented. And, you know, last week was a chance to do that as well, and they missed that chance. Final game right here at home. What a great scenario.
4 points for a win, and Utah is in, then seeding comes into play. But you can also get bonus points if you score 4 more tries, if you lose by 7 or fewer. That's the case for Utah. They need 2 points or more, so obviously going for the win. But then seeding comes into play, because after us tonight, San Diego hosting Glendale. And no one wants to play Glendale in Glendale next week in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Utah has a chance to vault themselves into not only into the playoffs, but into 3rd place, so that they avoid that matchup with the home team in the semifinals next week in Glendale. So, you know, lots to play for here. 2 points, as you mentioned, but they'd rather have 4, 5, 6 points to vault over San Diego.
Absolutely. A win and scoring 4 tries. Scoring 4 tries hasn't been an issue for this Utah team, 2nd best scoring team in the entire league to Glendale. But this is a rematch. You played 2 teams twice. Houston and Utah already played about a month ago, and Utah won 36-30. What do you think could be different today?
Well, what's different, I think, is Paul Lasike is not in the lineup. He's got international duties playing against Canada right now as we speak, in fact. And you take Lasike out of the lineup, and then, you know, you've got a big hole to fill there. So that's one of the differences for me. Kurt Marath at fly half. Johnny Linehan has been brought in as coach. Also their biggest attacking threat out of the field. So lots of players need to step up today, and that's what's going to be different than the first game.
Homecoming of sorts as well for Houston SaberCats captain Kyle Sumption, substitute Dan Hall. Both played at BYU about 30 minutes south, and Kyle Sumption, he's from American Fork, which is about 20 minutes away. He'll be motivated as the captain of the other side.
Absolutely. Lots of family here in attendance at Zions Bank Stadium. I asked him, are they going to be wearing yellow for the SaberCats? Are they going to be wearing cheering for the Warriors? He said, I'm not really sure about that.
Maybe they'll just wear BYU gear. Well, it's coming up. It's the Utah Warriors and the Houston SaberCats. The context is big for this one. Utah is a win and in or get those 2 bonus points. International absences, playoffs on the line. This is certainly a big one, and we expect tremendous play. Warm, but not too hot today, which is good on the pitch.
Yeah, a little cooler than last week, actually. I think everybody a little grateful.
That's good for both teams as we get ready for Utah and Houston. Major League Rugby is brought to you by Nui Social. Warriors fans, it's time to rock and roll with Nui and get on your way to financial freedom. Go to Nui.social for more info. Proud partner of the Utah Warriors. By Intermountain Sports Medicine. Healthcare, how, where, and when you want it. Intermountain Sports Medicine. HealingForLife.com. Proud partner of the Utah Warriors. And by Big D Construction. Providing unparalleled construction management, design build, and general contracting services for 50 years, is a proud sponsor of Utah Warriors Rugby. Thanks. playoffs on the line, and the SaberCats able to win the kickoff, but a knock-on, and Utah will take over from the start. A little bit windy out here, which is probably nice for those guys out in the heat.
Yeah, indeed. And, you know, last week, talking to some of these guys about Utah's play last week, a little bit of a mental breakdown last week, and they need to manage their game a little bit better.
Let's check out the lineups for the Utah Warriors. 2-5, 17 points, 5th place. Looking in at the lineups, what do you think of this starting group, Brian?
Well, some holes to fill, as we mentioned, in the centers. I thought Falmosili did a pretty nice job plugging the hole that was left by Paul Asike last week. He'll need to turn up really well on defense because he has across from him Osea Kalinisau from Fiji, always a dangerous man with the ball in hand. I like the battle at 15. Don Potty, who's always dangerous, against Zach Pangilinan, wearing the 15 for Houston as well.
Warriors out to the 10-meter line. That's Iniki Fa'amausili, the outside center, and here they go. You mentioned Maka Tamalau, listed at 325. We've heard 340. He's 3 spins plus and a load. Don Patti, who you just mentioned, very dangerous in the open field. Utah bordering the line. This one stays alive, and it's taken away, but not before it was out of play. It'll be a line out coming up for the Houston SaberCats.
One of the changes in the lineup is bringing John Cullen in as a starter. He's usually been brought off of the bench by Alf Daniels, the head coach of the Utah Warriors. I like him on the field to start the game. He's a tempo guy. He's a strong runner, but also gifted with the ball in hand from a pretty diverse rugby background, including the 15 side and the 7s that he's played as well. So I think a good, dangerous threat for a big man.
Houston with the penalty, so it'll be a Utah scrum.
It's difficult to see them all.
Joe Nichols from Zimbabwe. Grandpa played on the Zimbabwe national team. Older brother is a backup, sometimes his backup. So you can imagine the sibling rivalry there. Joe Nichols, who played at BYU. Utah guys, some BYU guys on the other side.
Set.
Lindenwood represented all kinds of good collegiate talent in on this one. And Nichols comes out of it. Linehan. Ball in hand, AJ Tuineau into space. Tuineau. Got Patti. Keeps it. Looking for support. Patti comes over. Good tackle by the SaberCats to not allow that to be a try. A lot of open space there, and then holding on. And Utah blows a big opportunity inside the 22.
To me, that's an instant try. If Tuineau gets rid of that ball and sends it to Potty, he's got Tonata Lauti on his shoulder as well. That is an automatic 5-pointer, and to me, a bit unforgivable. You beat one guy, you're good. You beat 2 guys, you're great. You try to beat 3, and you've probably kept the ball too long, and that's what happened there for Tuineau.
As you see, Tuineau with some space. Had Patti right there, and then outside of your screen, Lauti, like you talked about, and went into the 22 and then kept it alive, and then
yeah, you could see as soon as the fullback had his shoulders turned, you could see the number 15 wearing that Bumblebee jersey, that Zach Pangilinan. He turns his shoulders. That ball needs to be thrown by Tuineau.
Windsor kicks into touch, so a line out for the SaberCats. 1 win on the season, 1-6. They played some good competitive rugby, not what they wanted. There's Kyle Sumption, the former BYU Cougar captain and national champ. And Connor Murphy waiting for, and goes quick tap and go, shoves Johnny Linehan before offloading to Cecil Garber. And the SaberCats are in business. The winger. Windsor coughs it up, and Nichols goes into space where nobody's home. And look at the chase by Tonata Lauti, but it takes a SaberCat bounce.
Well, already we talked about, sorry to interrupt there, Jared, we talked about John Cullen in moments there. He caused the turnover there and produced that little gain of territory.
It'll be a lineout for the SaberCats. If you're new to rugby, ball just went into touch or out of bounds. That is one of the phrases here. Rugby for Rookies, brought to you by Intermountain Sports Medicine. Rugby players and fans alike know the need for having quality healthcare available when and where they need it. Intermountain Sports Medicine is proud to partner with the Utah Warriors. The hooker, Lindsey Stevens, who missed the last game, but had started the previous 6, as a lineout, and it is a good one. Taken down by Matt Truville. Started all 8 games for the SaberCats as the maul begins. Connor Murphy sends that one into touch inside the 22. The line out coming for these Utah Warriors. Brian, you mentioned the international absences. Kurt Morath, the fly half for the Warriors, Paul Lasike are gone. Tonga beat Fiji in Fiji today, although it was yesterday here. And then the USA is playing Canada as we speak. Paul Mullen, the prop for the SaberCats, gone in that one as well. So now a full-strength squad for both sides.
Capitalize on, let's go!
Warriors win it. Nichols, Linehan, the fly half. Tuiniau, who we saw a moment ago. The Linehan keeps a hold of it. Pati knocks it on. And it's tackled, and the whistle comes. It's a knock-on infraction from the Warriors. Having a hard time right now getting into that run of play, and when they had that moment, didn't take advantage of the opportunity.
Well, some of that's timing, and you can tell a little bit of a hiccup in the wraparound from Linehan coming around to Tuiniau, and then the ball ends up in Pati's hands, but it's the timing was already a little bit off, and Pati knocks it on. It's a catchable ball, and that one needs to go to hand.
Pati from Western Samoa has been a dynamic force the last 4 or 5 games. He was a scrum half in college. He's become a dynamic, of course, sevens player and then fullback in Major League Rugby. One of the best.
One of, I would say, probably the best attacking fullback. Ball in hand on the counterattack. Don Pati with the ball, and he is absolutely lethal.
The infraction from the Warriors on the scrum, having a hard time there, so Connor Murphy's got it. We'll see if he'll hand it off to Sam Windsor, and they call for the scrum again. Houston, a confident squad when it comes to the scrum. Seattle, one of the better squads in that matchup in Houston. Could have kicked in to touch, line out to get closer to the try zone, but Houston opted several times against Seattle to scrum against what's known as one of the better scrums in the league. They ain't scared.
Well, they're talking to their head coach, Justin Fitzpatrick, today. He said that he thinks that he's had the upper hand in the scrum all year long. It's the lineouts, he said, that's been failing him so far. We've seen 2 lineouts from Houston, 2 lineouts, 1, and they have put the Utah scrum under pressure.
Yeah, it's both sides this time, then.
And that one's kicked away. It looks like they'll reset. Connor Murphy was trying to put it in. Joe Nichols thought he had a steal for a sec. As Adam Leal will reset things. Yeah, when you don't feel confident in that lineup, although they are 2 for 2, I see why you'd take the scrum more often than not. And if you can get Sam Windsor with the wind, you're going to take that. He's had he made a 50-meter penalty goal against Utah in that 36-30 loss. Australian,
the wind at his back.
weapon.
Yeah, wind at his back right now. I'd give him the ball 50 plus.
Crouch! Bind!
Murphy waits.
Sit!
And put in. Spins around, still alive. Thrown to nobody in particular. Windsor tackled hard by Joe Nichols near midfield. Field doubles up as the Rail Monarchs soccer field. Oh, big hit by Lote Tuipulotu, but Lindsey Stevens, no worse for the wear, being held up. Call still not happening, goes to ground. And there's the call.
Great turnover there by Tuipulotu. Just a mountain of a man. I mean, he's built like a tree. He gets in there, and you can see the base on this number 2. Talked about him as a player throughout the year. Great with the ball in hand, just an absolute force. And that time gets in there, doesn't let Lindsey Stevens any air.
And look at Kyle Sumption take the ball away at the end in an attempt to just avoid the penalty for being held up. A big hit by Tuipulotu. You talked about how good he is ball in hand. He has four tries, tied for 6th in the league. That's pretty good for a hooker, not bad. Let's check out some keys to the match as we wait for an injury here. For the Utah Warriors, presented by Big D Construction, a proud sponsor of Utah Warriors, is proud to deliver the keys to the game. Big D Construction, heart, soul, muscle, and mind. What do you think for Utah, Brent?
Well, Utah, to me, it's all about managing the game better than they did last week, and that means maybe taking some of their big bodies and using them a little bit less, more effectively, choose your moments better so that they last a little bit longer. Maka Tamalau last week came on in the 15th minute for an injured Alex Tucci, had to play 65, and that is not what you want out of Maka Tamalau, toting 340 pounds around the field.
And here's his brother, Tavita Tamalau, who was practicing in Canada earlier this week with the USA team and then flew back Thursday night. Tuinia on the far side, inside, Tanaka He's going to set it down for the first points of the game. Runs into the middle, nearly went out, but he knocks it down, and it's 5-0 Utah Warriors.
Really like the way this kid plays, and to me, when you see a winger working all the way off the blind side, coming to the strong side, one, it's a testament to his fitness, and two, just looking for work. You always want your wingers to look for work, and Lauti comes all the way from the blind side to get involved here. Inside option for Tuiniao, and has become really one of the best finishers in the MLR, and it's no accident. Talked to the coach, Alf Daniels, about this young man, Tanaka Lauti, and he'll tell you he's the kind of kid who just keeps his mouth shut. He says it's head down and bum up, which is basically a way to say, you know what, he's always nose to the grindstone, always looking for work, and you know his play reflects that.
The conversion is good from Johnny Linehan, and it is 7-0. And with that try, Tanaka Lauti leads the entire league. He was tied in tries with Harley Davidson and Hanko Hamasais, and now he's #1 with 7 tries scored in this inaugural Major League Rugby season. And Utah up 7-0. Again, the Warriors with a win get into the playoffs. Austin hoping that the Warriors can lose and not get any bonus points. That is, score 4 more tries and lose by 7 or fewer. John Cullen with the take off the restart as Joe Nichols gets things going to Johnny Linehan, who will relieve the pressure, although it is deflected. Bounces high into the air, kept alive by Alex Elkins. Elkins being held up for the time by David Tamalau.
Yeah, and Tamalau's got him up in the maul. Once again, it's another turnover. Great job by Utah, really meeting these attacking players from Houston and not letting them get to the ground. First it was Tui Pelotu, this time Tamalau.
What do you do if you're the SaberCats to help that and avoid that?
Well, you just got to run. When you get into contact, you got to drop. Your body position has to be lower. If Alex Elkins is going to run straight into David Tamalau, you can expect that to happen more. You got to get your body position down. Once you're in a contact situation, especially with a guy as big as Tamalau, you drop your base, you get to ground.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Hold.
Nui is proud to sponsor the Utah Warriors in their inaugural season. To see why thousands have joined the Nui wave already, visit nui.social. Linehan pass a couple of tacklers and a penalty.
Yeah, I believe it was
against
offsides.
Houston.
Yeah, offsides against Connor Murphy there. The scrum half came over and just didn't give Nichols a lane, any room to breathe, getting the ball out of that scrum. They had done a pretty good job of getting go-forward ball, despite the pattern being broken up a little bit by Murphy and his indiscretion. But they now get a little bit more territory from the kick.
No Joshua Bithi today, the tremendous winger from Fiji for Houston. What kind of difference will that make on the back line there for
Well, we don't know
Houston?
yet. And the reason we don't know is we haven't seen any ball go wide from the SaberCats.
As a line out one, and look at the big run from Lindsey Stevens inside of Utah territory. Windsor Kalinisau, our first look at him. The Fijian captain of that 7s team that won gold in Rio. And finally, the ball gets wide, just as you mentioned it, Brian.
And Kalinisau coming up, limping a little bit. And that's got to be a concern for Coach Justin Fitzpatrick.
Absolutely. Let's check out our keys to the match for the Houston SaberCats, presented by Aviva. Pushing boundaries in the digital world where everything is possible. Learn more at aviva.com. What are the keys for Houston?
For me, if you're Houston, use your forwards, and not only in the set piece scrum where they seem to have an advantage, but also use the forwards, which I think are fitter than the Utah, especially the front row. Spread these guys out a little bit more. Make the guys like Maka Tamalau, Saya Uila, make them run a little bit.
Lance Williams wins the line out. Here's Linehan. Inside. Fa'amausili, Nichols, Linehan inside run to Pati, and it pops out. SaberCats get the turnover at midfield.
I still don't like the way that Kalinisau's running. He's still a little bit, like he's still hobbling just a bit.
Windsor looking for options. Inside run, big run by Pangilinan. And great toss over to Cecil Garber. And Garber is going to dot it down. And Houston is on the board, just like that.
Well, great pass. That flat flick pass by Zach Pangilinan. Garber holding his shoulder. Looks like he went down awkwardly, scoring that try.
And he was being attended to earlier, too, so he jumped right back in.
Watch this pass by Zach Pangilinan. He's only got a small window to get it perfectly into Garber's hands. Look at that. Straight through Nichols and Tuiniau. Just absolute perfection. Couldn't have placed that ball anywhere else. And then you see Garber there getting a little bit of attention on the shoulder from the dot down.
Pangilinan, what? He threads the needle for that one. And Sam Winthrop will try and tie this thing up. 16 minutes in, as the Austin Elite probably had a tremendous cheer on that try going for Houston today, as they hope to be the fourth and final team into the playoffs. San Diego currently in the 3 spot, Seattle in the 2, Glendale in the 1 yet to lose, and San Diego hosts Glendale later tonight. Conversion attempt from Windsor is through the pipes and good. 7-7, Houston and Utah in the 17th minute in the final match of the regular season for both these two.
Solid stuff from Windsor. What I liked about that last phase was, and we see Garber walking off the field, he's going to come out of the game. Well, that's unfortunate, especially to be injured in that way, to be injured scoring a try. You've done all the work. All you got to do is put the ball down, and just awkwardly lands on that surface. Unfortunate for Cecil Garber.
And it looks like we're going to see Robert Meeson potentially in his place, quickly getting a drink before he might come in. And that restart kickoff is batted out. And here comes Meeson, number 19, in for Garber already. Line out coming for Utah Warriors, or excuse me, a scrum. Newey's proud to sponsor, Intermountain Sports Medicine, the official sports medicine partner of the Utah Warriors, and Big D Construction, the official construction sponsor of the Utah Warriors. Robert Meeson initially ran out, and then the refs told him, no, you gotta come back out, and now he's back out. So we got a little bit of extra running. He'll come in right away at flanker for the injured Cecil Garber. And never a good sign to come out of the game, but shoulder perhaps being looked at before that play, pops up, jumps back in, scores the try, and in doing so may have, who knows, hurt that shoulder a little bit more. Hopefully he is okay for the SaberCats. From coming for the Utah Warriors as we are tied at 7 here, and the SaberCats have answered the call. And this is the final match of the regular season. 1-6, but they've been competitive. They've hung with some good teams. 1-6 is a bit deceiving.
Yeah, and they've had their share of single-digit losses as well.
Linehan back to Tuiniau. Tuiniau met near the 22, and the Warriors in striking distance. Thaya Uhila, the vice captain, fends on fends as he tracks his way. Linehan. Lance Williams, the former Hawaii linebacker. He's being held up, trying to go to ground. Still held up, but finally dragged down, no whistle. And the ball held on, and Houston gets the turnover, again, inside the 22.
They return the favor, and that's twice that Utah, we had seen them stand up a Houston SaberCat attacker with ball in hand, and this time, how rare is it to see a man as big as Thaya Uhila being stood up in the tackle? But, you know, that's the thing, point of contact stuff, and that's a skill. It's just a little bit of a mental breakdown, a little bit too wild with the ball, And you got to drop that center of gravity at the point of contact and either make a few more hard yards or lay the ball back.
You want to churn some extra yards out, but you also have the option of turning it over if you're held up, and that's happened 3 times now between these two teams.
Well, and I'm sure Alf Daniels will be counting the number of times that they have attacking ball inside the 22 and aren't using the ball or getting any points, and that's happened again a couple times so far early in the first half.
Good placement from Sam Windsor. The Australian is done. Patti has to track this down. Patti, not one to kick much, does this time. And goes into touch. And I believe we have reached the hydration break. We will step aside for the moment. The Warriors and SaberCats tied up at 7 apiece. They'll get some water here in a moment, but Linehan went to the outside, and Tanata Lauti dotted it down for the first score of the game. It'll be a 1-minute break. We'll be back in a moment as we're tied 7-7 in Utah.
What's going on down there?
20-plus minutes in, tied at 7 apiece. Jerem Jordan, Brian Hightower, and our crew here at Zions Bank Stadium in Harriman, Utah. Beautiful day for rugby. Great crowd in attendance here at the regular season finale, and we'll reset with a line-out for the Houston SaberCats. What have you thought of the first 20-plus so far, Brian?
Well, a few mental lapses on both sides. I like the attacking platform from the SaberCats. Their last move, a really well-drilled move with Pangilinan coming on the inside. Sometimes they use him as a decoy. That time they use Sumption as a battering ram.
And he is a battering ram. Warriors head coach Alf Daniels saying, man, he has got to be one of the best fit and hardest playing number 8s and players in the league. And the Warriors win the ball back after that line out. Neither team able to get too much run of play right now. A lot of play happening in the middle of the pitch. So far, Utah blew a huge opportunity inside the 22 in the first couple of minutes, but it'll be a scrum coming up here near the middle of the field between Houston in the gold and black, and the Warriors in the black and red and white. Warriors will put it in this time.
Tanata Lauti standing almost on the paint of the touchline, just trying to spread out the SaberCat defense a little bit. A good solid ball from the scrum.
Guineo drops it, but was it backwards? It was not. It's a knock-on. I want to give a shout-out to the Lady Cats watch party in Houston at the gorgeous Gale Irish Bar. The ladies, fans of Houston, watching the match.
Well, one of those Lady Cats is Tuva Kalinisau, Oscar's wife, wearing the number 13 jersey. It is her birthday. He wanted me to say
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Tuva.
Absolutely.
3-month-old Tui, their son, born here in the United States. Potential future American player.
Would he play for Fiji or for the Eagles? I think we know the answer. Osea Kalinisau, the number 13 for Houston. The captain of the Fijian gold medal winning team, the first medal for Fiji in the Olympics. Brian, you were there. That was an incredible moment. A commemorative $7 bill for the Sevens in Fiji for Osea Kalinisau.
Yeah, I actually happen to have one of those.
On you? Can I have it? Pangilinan, who earlier had a tremendous assist on the try. Tackle on Chris Coyle, the flanker. Murphy resets quickly. Windsor inside bruising run as Angus McClellan tackles the hooker Lindsey Stevens. And the SaberCats with ball in hand. Assumption rolls over and lays it back. Murphy. Windsor again. Kalinisau. Tackled hard, picked up and thrown down. Murphy again. Stevens, a lot of run for him in this one. The SaberCats able to put most phases together in one string, I think, in the game so far. Jamie Deaver, the Irishman, throws it back. Connor Mills. Mills, tackled by Vita Tamalau and Ada Elkington. Assumption. Driven back by Saya Uhila and AJ Tuiniao. Big pitch from Deaver, the prop. And looks like maybe in from the side.
Yeah, it's unfortunate too because Utah had really done a great job of organizing the defense. It looked like Houston was running out of answers. Talking to some of the players from the SaberCats side, you know, they've been organizing themselves on attack into little pods, little units of forwards, and Utah has done a good job of basically picking up those pods, not getting over involved in the breakdown, and then realigning for the next phase. And so Houston, lucky there to get the penalty because they had had a bunch of phases and gone nowhere.
So Houston will attempt a penalty goal for 3, going for the points here. Sam Windsor, the Australian fly half. 19 conversions, number 2 in the league. Number 1 in points scored with 86. So his right leg and foot has been a weapon for the SaberCats. 11 of 13 on penalties. He's been money. And this one is good. 10-7 on the foot of Sam Windsor on the penalty, and Houston takes the lead. And if you listen closely, you can hear Austin cheering every time Houston scores.
Exactly.
Utah going for the win to get into the playoffs if they get the 2 bonus points. They can also get in. Can't finish in a tie with Austin, though, because the first tiebreaker is wins, and Austin has 3. Utah has 2. Assumption. Tackled by Uhila. Windsor with 5 points. Bengalinen battling Williams and Tuiniao. Windsor into space. Nicely done. By Nicola, who's been quiet offensively. And nearly taken by the SaberCats.
Yeah, that was Esdale coming down on that open side wing, and you just didn't think that there'd be enough time for him to get to that ball, but it was allowed to take a hop. Batu'u Vainikolo kind of watching it bounce. Suddenly can't get his hands on it. Almost a break for the SaberCats.
Nui Social is a proud sponsor of Utah Warriors Rugby. Looking for a new road to financial freedom? Visit nui.social. Bigger, better, more. So a scrum coming up for Houston. And that was nearly 5 for the SaberCats as Malachi Esdale made an attempt down there.
And the scrum is actually for Utah. Esdale actually knocked it on. Almost went into his hands. He would have scored under the post.
Scrum from Houston, but Vita Tamalau comes out with it. Batu'u Vainikolo nearly falling over. Now he's back on his feet near midfield. Hands off to Tuiniao. Tuiniao spills it, but it goes backwards or not. No, it was a knock-on.
Well, that's the story so far. We've seen a couple times breaks by the Warriors, and they can't finish him up. Take a look again. Great job by Vainikolo. Just trying to find a little help, and then the wraparound pass finds Tuiniao, and then great job by Pangilinan to disrupt that carry and knock the ball out of the hands of Tuiniao.
Some frustration on the Warriors side because they've had several nice runs in the open field with ball in hand. They've come up with just the 1 try and trail, approaching 28 minutes into this first half. The scrum for the SaberCats, coached by Justin Fitzpatrick, the former Irish international, former head coach of Pakistan and USA assistant as well. one focus, area of focus has been the scrum. They worked on that in practice quite a bit this week. Want to be one of the best in the league, and they are.
Yeah, very solid in the scrum. Gives the scrum half, Connor Murphy, lots of options.
Bengalinen.
Yeah, just a slight knock on there. You know, something about last week, it was Utah with the ball. They got down right around the 10-meter mark of the NOLA Gold last week a few times, and they couldn't cross the line. And we've seen that a couple times from Utah today, and you don't want that to be the story, to be able to do all the work, get down inside that red zone and not take any points away. They'll have to do a little bit better, and that's mental focus. That's just tightening things up when you get close.
Crouch! Bind!
Adam Leal wants to reset this scrum. Aviva is a proud sponsor of Major League Rugby and the Houston SaberCats, pushing boundaries in the digital world where everything is possible. Learn more at aviva.com. In this inaugural Major League Rugby season, this is the final regular season week. San Diego and Glendale will finish things up tonight. Utah trying to get that fourth and final playoff spot, potentially the 3 seed as well, depending on how things go here. And a penalty on Houston, and Utah will try and take advantage in its own half of the field here. Are they beyond Linehan's reach for a penalty goal?
Yeah, well, apparently they are, because Linehan's booting it into touch right now. And a slight breeze coming right in the face of Linehan. And, you know, we talked about him trying to get back into match form. Kind of a surprise inclusion. Spent more time really here in the booth with you, Jeremy, than he did on the field. And I think he was probably ready to take a break from you and get back to playing rugby. And that's
it was such a bad experience.
It was right. He was tormented by it.
Kurt Morath with Tonga needing a fly half. Jared Whippy injured. He might have been an option too. Linehan the fly half now. Ball forms still going. About 10 meters out. And the maul was brought down by the SaberCats, so Utah knocking on the door, trying to take back the lead here. Opted not to kick with the wind in the face of Linehan.
I think they'll go straight back to that same option. Into touch, you can see conversation there. Yep, Linehan boots it out, and it'll be a 5-meter line out. Well, you got the horses in the corral for Utah. Certainly a lot of weight in the pack, and should be able to drive this one over. This is all about organization.
Trying to run that side play, and did the Warriors get in? Nearly there. Some pick and goes. And are the Warriors in? They are. Utah with Saya Uhila takes back the lead.
Well, they did a great job, Utah did. They tried to do that wraparound back to the short side inside that 5-meter channel, and they somehow managed to keep the ball in play. And then they've got a penalty advantage here. And then Saya Uhila just takes it upon himself, dives over through a couple of Houston jerseys, and regains the lead for the Warriors.
At the second try for the Warriors, we'll keep an eye on that, because if you score 4 or more, you get the bonus point. Uhila, a big figure, a big hitter, and he gets the second try of the match, as Johnny Linehan will have a more difficult conversion attempt. And with the wind, this isn't a guaranteed 2, let alone this distance. And every point counting here in the attempt to get into the playoffs. See how he fares in that one. Update on USA and Canada in that test match in Halifax. 72nd minute, the USA up 28-10 on Canada. With Paul Lasike and Paul Mullen representing both sides of this one.
Well, and after that historic win in Houston last week, great to see the momentum behind this U.S. Eagle team right now.
Jerry Gold has changed things. And a good boot from Linehan. Is it through? And it's off the post. Oh, just a few centimeters to the right of potential 2 points, so it stays at 12-10. Had plenty of distance from that angle into the wind.
Yeah, talking about these international matches, we've seen now 3 in a row, a devastating defeat of Russia in the first match, and then a historic win over Scotland. And it looks like if things hold up, then another win for the U.S. Eagles in Halifax. And a lot of people will credit this league, the MLR, having professional rugby in the United States, giving week in and week out quality matches, and everyone on that 23-man squad for the U.S. Eagles a professional rugby player.
For the first time
time
ever.
you could ever say that.
13 from Major League Rugby, which is fantastic, and each team took its best poll and gave it to the Eagles. 12-10, 34th minute. Pangilinan at midfield as the SaberCats try and take back the lead here. Kalinisau being tackled by Linehan. The Kiwi ball pops out. Advantage Utah. Vainukolo as the crowd gets into it.
Tackle. Scrum advantage over.
And Utah in business. The try scorer, Uhila, offloads. Bruising run from Elkington to the 40. Linehan quickly to Angus McClellan, the former Eagle. Big tackle of H.A. Tuineau by the SaberCats.
And that just read perfectly by Connor Mills coming up in the inside center position. He read that pass. He took a chance because if that ball didn't go. Take a look. This ball to Tuineau, backdoor, and here comes Mills. Actually, that's Sam Windsor coming up on the hit. A well-read play by Windsor.
And that ball was hoping to find touch from Linehan, but did not. It went out of the try zone, so it's going to come back all the way where Linehan kicked it for a scrum.
Let's go now.
So a miss hit from Linehan for the Warriors. And with under 5 minutes to go in the half, the SaberCats hoping they can tack on at least 3, if not 5 or 7, going to the break up.
I think, Linehan probably confused. He's used to punting now, and that one,
that would have
been a really good punt.
Yeah, that would have been down inside the 5. It would have been tremendous.
Except for this one, you got to keep it in first. So it's not just about the distance. Someone needs to have a talk with Johnny Linehan.
The Kiwi knows. His first punt against Nebraska for the BYU football team was a 77-yarder, by the way.
Which is good.
It's pretty good.
Pretty
yeah,
good.
Exactly.
So you're into that kind of thing.
Windsor to Kalinisau. It's run by Mills. This is Esdale. SaberCats building in the final moments of the first half here. Charlie Hewitt, the lock. Makatamalau with the tackle. Fake to Sumption. Sumption helps. Kalinisau. Ohila. It's his ankles. Ball pops out. Good fend from Hewitt, and here's a run from Stevens. Lindsey Stevens looking for support, taken down by Williams. And Williams is nearly over for the turnover. Windsor. Back to Murphy. Lots of space. Trouville, the former Eagle. 10 meters out for the SaberCats. Kalinisau. Nearly taken away by Tuineau. Knocked on, but the Warriors stopped the barrage from the SaberCats. It's game time, and Carbeck Brewing wants to remind you that nothing goes better with the game than a cold Love Street Blonde or a Hopadillo IPA, proudly brewed in Houston. Nice sequence for Houston before the almost interception, but knock on by A.J. Tuineau.
Yeah, looked like there was an opportunity early out wide for the SaberCats, but they instead of the big pass over the top, went to the next man, which was Oscar Kalinisau. Kalinisau gets tackled, and then Tuineau comes up, and really out of that line, he has to do something. Sometimes we've seen that knock on as a penalty, sometimes even a yellow card for an intentional knock on. This time the referee just says, you know what, just a straight up knock on and a scrum to the SaberCats.
Bind.
A scrum about 15 meters out. with 2 minutes to go in the half. Ball squirts out. Windsor looking for runners. Big tackle from Vainicolo to keep SaberCats back, but a penalty on the Warriors.
Yeah, I think there was no release, in the tackle. So you got to show your hands first. You got to make a break and then you go back in for the poach.
And Houston is looking for points here. Windsor with a layup for him, the leading point scorer in the league, will look to give the SaberCats 3 and take back the lead going into halftime.
Yeah, a lot of these guys from the SaberCats, they know this is their last game. A lot of them have plans for the off season. Windsor going to take his wife to Las Vegas, where his mother-in-law lives. Las Vegas in the summertime. I hope they have a pool nearby.
Yeah, seriously. Just living there. Windsor will take his time. And the leading point scorer, I didn't see the flags go up. Did he miss that?
Wow.
He missed that. Windsor missed
that is
that
a rare
kick.
miss from the leading scorer in the MLR.
My goodness, and now Sai Uhila will take it, and the Warriors with a little bit of momentum. I mean, that's as easy a kick as Windsor has seen this year from a penalty and did not make it. So the Warriors stay on top, 12-10.
Great turnover by Stevens.
Stevens had a nice game. Kalinisau up the sideline, stays in bound, kicks it, but it goes out.
He had support inside too, trying to do a little too much. The chip kick over the top. He had men inside, and he squanders that support. Another scoring opportunity. He thought that after that kick by Windsor, it was going to be automatic 3 points. They'd milk the clock. They'd go to halftime. And then we saw a great break from Utah, and then another even better break from the SaberCats.
And you see a lot of hands on knees and hips right now as we have reached extra time at the end of the first half here. Line out nearly lost, still live, being kicked around. SaberCats chasing it, kicked again. And then finally the whistle comes. It's going to come back on a knock-on where it originally started. Adam Leal had seen enough. I thought we were going to see that ball kicked across the entire length of the pitch.
And Truville was kicking it the wrong way. I think he was trying to get it to bounce
into the locker room. Let's just get out of here.
Right? Trying to get it to bounce up to Pangilinan in his hands, but some danger there.
And Houston with a chance here on the Utah knock-on, with a scrum at the 5-meter line. After the Windsor miss, in extra time at the end of the first half here, whistle could come at any moment should Houston turn it over, but if the SaberCats put something together, they could take the lead.
And Jerem, just small moments in a game. This goes to me back to that Lindsey Stevens turnover where it was a great break from Utah, and then suddenly it's going the other way.
So the SaberCats with a chance here. Murphy puts it in. Stevens, the hooker, kicks it back. Kalinisau on the left. Windsor on the right. Windsor keeps it. And he gets in for the try. And Houston dots it down in extra time to take the lead back. Windsor makes up for the missed penalty by getting into the try zone and taking the lead.
A lot of decoys there. You had Alex Elkins coming from the blindside wing. You had seen the shift over by Kalinisau. The outside center comes all the way to the blind side and drags a defender and keeps that blindside winger home for Utah. And then Sam Windsor looked like he had options on either shoulder. The defense was drawn, and then the gap was in front of Windsor. Nobody tackles the man with the ball because they're too worried about the other players involved. You got to take the ball out first. They don't do it, and it costs them 5 points and eventually 7.
17-12 on the 7-point swing at the end. It looked like the Warriors may take in a halftime lead, but Houston stays with it as Sam Windsor missed the penalty but made up for it with the try. The second of the game for the SaberCats, 17-12. As the SaberCats out of the scrum take advantage, and the SaberCats lead it by 5 needing a win. Utah needing a win to get into the playoffs. Houston wanting to end on a high note. And Windsor dots it down to take back the lead.
Johnny, you have the microphone.
Yeah.
Hi, off. Come on in. That's snug. Sound okay? Okay. Can't hear anything? Can you hear me okay?
I'm coming through.
Do you want me to toss the break out of this? Will this be its own segment? Welcome back. It's halftime at Zions Bank Stadium here with Alf Daniels, head coach of the Utah Warriors, down 17-12. A late score by Houston gives them the lead. What did you see in that sequence?
I think just, you know, a little bit of lack of composure from us. Lost ball on the ground. I think if we just control things just a little bit tighter, we can eliminate those.
You had a few nice runs of the ball in hand, unable to kind of take advantage of those. How do you capitalize on those in the second half?
I think just a little bit more depth and just a little bit more patience and just get that ball out in front.
Okay, let's let you get back down to the team and give them some instructions. We appreciate the time.
Thanks very much.
Alf Daniels, head coach for the Utah Warriors. Let's check out some highlights from the first half. Some nice movement for the Utah Warriors. Early opportunities inside the 22. A.J. Tui now a couple of nice runs. Sanata Lauti with a try early that got Utah on the board in the 11th minute to go up 7-0. SaberCats answered to tie it up with a Cecil Garber try. Saya Uhila able to take back the lead. In the 32nd minute, Windsor made a penalty, missed an easy one later, and then in extra time, Sam Windsor able to get into the try zone to take the lead 17-12. Cecil Garber, you see here, injured before this, and then we think injured on this play as well in the go-ahead or tying try there in the 17th minute. So putting it all out on the line for Houston in the last regular season game. Then later, Sai Uhila able to get into the try-zone. Conversion was no good. Actually went off the post from Johnny Linehan with the wind at his back. He'll hope to take advantage in the second half there. Sam Windsor, 1 for 2 on penalties. The leading scorer in Major League Rugby, the Australian who's been around the world playing now in Houston. Then Windsor with the try, and it's 17-12 for the Houston SaberCats. A bit of a surprise given the way that Utah had kind of played. I think Houston had a nice push at the end of the half, and a lot of times, Brian Hightower now joining me, the last 5 minutes and the first 5 minutes can be quite telling of each half.
Yeah, you know, for me, it's all about composure.
Halftime at Zions Bank Stadium. Houston up 17-12. Jerem Jordan, Brian Hightower. Entertaining first half, one in which Houston kind of surprised the Warriors with the late try to take back the lead.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, if you're the Utah Warriors, you got to get it done. This is your 40 minutes of rugby to the playoffs, and so far a few squandered opportunities from the Warriors. They got to be a little bit more clinical when they've got those line breaks. They have to finish, and they got to dig deep and find something within them. They weren't able to do it last week, as mentioned. They got to do it here in the next 40 minutes. And Houston, they're looking to play the spoiler. Talk to everybody on the field for the SaberCats in the pregame, and that's all they were talking about. We're here to go out on a high note. We're here to spoil the party for the Utah Warriors. Hey, they're doing a pretty good job of it.
So far, so good. 17-12, second half action coming up after the break as Houston captain Kyle Sumption, a homecoming for him. He's from 15 minutes away. He's trying to take care of business for Houston to keep Utah out of the playoffs. We'll be back.
worries, bro.
All good. That the playoffs for the Utah Warriors, they need 2 tries more and to lose by 7 or fewer. That's the minimum, or just win. Down 17-12 at home. Houston 0-3 on the road this year, trying to play spoiler, get the first road win of the year. And the second half is underway. Jerem Jordan, Brian Hightower, and our crew here in Harriman, Utah at Zions Bank Stadium. And Esdale starts things for the SaberCats in the gold and black here in the second half.
Last week, Jerem, Utah needed to come out strong, came out flat in the beginning of the second half. They really need to find something deep. We know that Houston's only got 40 minutes of rugby left in their inaugural MLR season. Utah does not want that same fate.
Penalty on the Warriors. Nola Gold, as you mentioned, 2 quick tries and took a big lead that Utah nearly came back from, but lost 46-43 in a shootout, as Windsor will kick into touch for a lineout for the Houston SaberCats. SaberCats really good in the exhibition season and preseason, 1-6 this season. Not the season that Justin Fitzpatrick and company wanted. Utah just a game better at 2-5, but because of the bonus points, in a position to get into the playoffs. So again, if you score 4 or more tries, you get a point. If you lose by 7 or fewer, you get a point. And if you win, you get 4 points. So the Utah Warriors with 2 wins, but in a position to get into the playoffs. Should they win today, or they get 2 bonus points? But right now, Houston up 17-12 in this second half. Lineout coming for Lindsey Stevens and the SaberCats. One pops up. Kyle Sumption, the captain, who's from 20 minutes south of here in American Fork. Substitute Dan Paul, also a former player collegiately down the road at BYU. Could see him in the second half. Kalinas out. Back to Windsor, who scored a try late. Elkins marching his way inside the 22 on Linehan, who has the tackle. And then the ball's loose, and it looked like Cullen came through the gate. He was okay, I suppose, or perhaps advantage played. Adam Macklin, the prop, at the 22. Ball being contested. And Utah did not roll away.
Well, this is an opportunity for instant points from, although we said that last time we had a shot in front of the post for Sam Windsor. He'll try again with what would be, percentage-wise, an easy 3 points for Windsor.
Right down the barrel, but into the wind this time. Windsor 1 for 2 in the first half. Got 10 points on the day with a conversion, penalty, and a try. Now looking to tack on 3 more.
We've
make
seen
this a 2-score game.
Yeah, Jerem, we've seen this Warrior side very opportunistic with ball in hand. They're very adventuresome with the ball. They like running rugby. To me, though, this might be a time to change their tactics a little bit, use the wind at their back, and play some territory game in this second half.
Windsor's penalty is no good.
Wow.
He's missed 2 today.
We have jinxed Sam Windsor.
We didn't think that was possible, Brian.
6 points normally automatic for Windsor. One of the most accurate boots in the league, but
he had missed 2 all season coming into the game, and he missed 2 today.
Wow.
Pretty incredible. 17-12, Warriors restart. Kalinisau, this one way over his head, but takes a fortuitous bounce if you're a Warriors fan.
That is a monster of
that kick into the wind was crazy. Look at Williams, hold on to it with one hand, offload it to Nichols. Joe Nichols churning his way into territory for the Warriors, trying to do something here with the playoff opportunity. Tamalau coughs it up. That one just launched backwards. Kalinisau all over it like he normally is. As the SaberCats try to string some phases together. Getting a bit ragged here in the opening 5. The final regular season game for both these teams. Season's going to end for the SaberCats after this one. Warriors with a chance to make the playoffs. Elkins. Tackled by Elkington and Linehan, and Linehan rips it out. Tamalau. Vita, the former Eagle, to Linehan quickly to Vainicolo. But a forward pass.
Well, they're lucky to get it back. I mean, McClellan, a couple phases ago, Utah ball, McClellan finds a ball off the ground, great hands, and then ships it on to Maka Tamalau, and the unforced error just knocks the ball on in a crucial moment. Every phase, every possession gonna count for the Utah Warriors right now, down by a try.
And if they can score twice and keep it close, they're in business for the playoffs. But you just rather win and get in. If you're the Warriors, Austin hoping they are the team that gets in instead of Utah. I'm sure watching this one. And San Diego and Glendale later tonight. Final game of the regular season. San Diego could play into some seeding at that point. Semifinals of the championship series coming up next week in Glendale. A doubleheader should be great. Championship game coming up in San Diego in a couple of weeks. As that scrum ball comes out to Kalinisau, and then an immediate tackle from Iniki Fa'amausili. And then knocked on, and the Warriors take it back.
Great timing there. That was Fa'amausili comes up to chop Kalinisau. Sometimes you take your chances when you come up individually and you break that line. And Fa'amausili takes a gamble here and chops Kalinisau before Kalinisau can ship that ball on. You could tell the way that Kalinisau was loading up that he was going to pass that ball on quickly, but he never got a chance to get rid of it. Instead, knocks it on. A great gamble by Iniki Fa'amausili.
It'll be a scrum for Utah in a scoring opportunity here for Joe Nichols and this crew. See if the Warriors can get the ball wide. A guy like Fetu'u Vainicolo, who has not seen the ball too much today, or Natalauti on the other side.
And to me, the key is watching Don Potty here at this midfield scrum, see where Potty goes and how many defenders he can drag with that decision. But they can't win their own scrum, and it's turned over. Wow, and that's
a knock-on from the
yeah,
SaberCats, and the Warriors get it back.
Fortunate for the Warriors. You got to win your own ball. They got the horses to do it. Big men up front. They should not be losing their scrums, but this is, again, the key. We talked of Justin Fitzpatrick, the dominance in the scrum, and it's playing out.
Nui is proud to sponsor the Utah Warriors in their inaugural season. To see why thousands have joined the Nui wave already, visit Nui.social. Another scrum for Joe Nichols and the Warriors. No sign of activity for any subs quite yet for the Warriors. Alex Tucci getting warmed up a little bit. Ball goes wide. Linehan, nice grab out of the air. Don Patti with a run inside the 22. Warriors trying to take the lead back with the playoffs on the line. Pick and goes. Turning up some territory for the Warriors. SaberCats trying to be stout.
Tackle! Good work, goal. Thank you.
Nichols to Linehan. Makatamalau, get out of the way! Don Patti with the fake. Patti with little to no support right now, gets back up after being untackled and released. Nichols looking at Makatamalau again. Hands off to Angus McClellan, who spills it, and then it's knocked on. The Warriors can't seem to put it together right now.
Well, the advantage being played by the referee, Adam Leal. And so it was going to be the Warriors' ball anyways. But to me, it goes back to Don Patti. We saw in the first half, AJ Tuiniao with an opportunity to free Patti. Patti that time could have passed it to Tuiniao, but he didn't.
And Lance Williams. And look at Maka Tamalau right there. SaberCats trying to put up a wall, and it's down.
Yeah,
the Warriors have scored and tied the game.
Elkington with the pick and jam from a stout run by Tamalau, and critical of Tamalau before about the knock-on, the unforced error, but this series of phases, Tamalau came up huge, first with a blistering run where he just barnstorms over a couple of Houston defenders, and then he sets this try up. Just carnage. Watch him. Wherever Tamalau runs, there's going to be yellow jerseys flying. And then the pick and jam from Elkington, too good. And that was a huge try, not just for the scoreboard, Jerem, but for the psychology of this Warrior side. They had to get on the board. They did, and an opportunity to take the lead back. And suddenly, the people in Austin are a little bit nervous.
Ada Elkington with the try, the third of the game. We'll keep an eye on that. 4+ to get a point. Johnny Linehan with a two-pointer here, kicks it through, and it is 19-17. The Warriors in a playoff position at the moment. Here with 30 minutes to go to end the regular season. And like you said, shrapnel everywhere on the Tamalau run from Maka, wearing the number 17 because they don't have a number 1 that fits him. Playing the loose head prop, and the Warriors up 19-17.
If you just put the Tamalau boys on the scales out, there's over 600 pounds of Tamalau on the field right now for Utah.
And there's his brother Vita, goes by David as well. And the Warriors up and feeling confident. Like you said, a big psychological score, not to mention physical on that board. Lance Williams had a nice run a moment ago. Linehan creates some space. Not too many exits via the boot inside the own 22 of the Warriors. Look at this run from Mills. Murphy. Jake Turnbull off the bench. Garber to Windsor. Windsor into some space. Scored a try at the end of the first half. McClellan with a tackle of Jamie Deaver. There's the lock. Hewitt. Charlie Hewitt. As the SaberCats get some space. Kalinisau quickly to Esdale, and Esdale goes into touch. Right in front of the Utah bench.
Yeah, a great tackle by Falmusili.
Malachi Esdale tackled out. It'll be a line out for Utah.
Great handling there by the SaberCats, but Falmusili just absolutely perfect on the timing of that tackle on Esdale. Esdale's got really quick feet, can scamper down that touchline, but it's well managed by Fal Musili and the turnover.
Adam Leal wants a little more space in that lineup. Tui Pelotu. Good contest from Trouville, who I think got a hand on it for a second. Linehan creates some space over the head of Esdale, will stay in. Taking a long bounce and will go outside of the try zone.
Yeah, just a little too much on the kick there, and I think we talked about earlier changing tactics and going off the boot of Linehan and playing the territory game, and that was the idea behind that kick, but just a little bit too much weight off the toe, and so it's going to come all the way back, and that's a pretty big mistake from Linehan. Sometimes it's about being a little more clinical than it is about being powerful, and so far Linehan, we've seen him a couple times on the day with a little bit too much power and not as much precision.
He was a punter for 3 years at BYU. That was about an 80-meter kick right there into the wind, granted, but still, I mean, that one went a long ways. And it's going to come back all the way to where he kicked it, like you mentioned. Scrum, but a couple of subs. Here comes Alex Tucci in for Maka Tamalau, who was quite influential in that go-ahead try a moment ago. He will come out to the applause of these Utah Warriors fans. Tucci, typically a starting prop, hurt his hamstring last week and came out early. He's back in.
Well, and I talked to him before the game, and he thought that maybe Alf Daniels would go to him as a last resort because he hasn't really loaded up that hamstring this week during training. He's been really kind of, gingerly with the whole hamstring issue, and so we'll see. You definitely want him around if they're in the playoffs next week, but maybe Alf Daniels is saying, look, we got to get to the playoffs first, so put Tucci out there. He's been my best prop all year long.
Tamalau goes 53 minutes. Tucci in for the final 30. Windsor trying to find Murphy, popped back to the lock. Matt Trouville, the former Eagle. Trouville with the run. Tamalau, the elder, with the tackle. Windsor faked it inside. Advantage being played for Utah, and the whistle comes on the forward pass. And these two getting into it a bit.
Everybody needs to keep a cool head here.
And it's all Warriors, and then finally some SaberCats come over after that tackle. Some intense jostling. Kyle Sumption in the mix on that one, the captain. Intermountain Sports Medicine, the official sports medicine partner of the Utah Warriors. So Kyle Sumption having a conversation with Adam Leal after all of that. Sumption not happy about that interaction. Take another look at what just happened.
So there, Sumption dives on the ball, and then it's
Sumption and Uhila after the fact.
And Uhila takes exception to being cleaned out, and then there's a little bit of pushing and shoving. There was already an advantage being played, a penalty against the SaberCats, so the outcome doesn't change, and I think Adam Leal does a great job here of managing this little infraction between the Uhila and Sumption, and just says, boys, let's chill out a little bit. Original penalty stands. And Utah with some territory, but they can't find a line-out strike.
Williams trying to take down Esdale, always tough to tackle. And then that's taken away by Tui Pelotu, but he goes in to touch. Murphy assessing whether he can go quick. He'll hold it for a second. And Utah blows an opportunity with the line out in their own half. 19-17. Warriors up here in a back and forth contest in the final regular season match for these two. The Utah Warriors trying to make the playoffs. Nice run by Jake Turnbull off the bench. The number 17, Murphy, Windsor, Kalinisau, Pangilinan, Hunter Mills near the end line, and then into touch. And the Warriors fans appreciating that effort defensively.
Looked like a little confusion on the corner there between Pangilinan and Elkins. And, you know, when you take the ball at half speed, sometimes you just got to get as much as you can and then recycle another phase. That time, Elkins ends up getting dragged into touch, and you never want, as a winger, to go into touch, be tackled there.
So another lineup for Utah. Unsuccessful a moment ago on the other side of the field. And Lote Tui Pelotu, who has 4 tries this season, 6th most in MLR. Nice and high for Uhila, who bats it back, but then the SaberCats take it over. Another lost lineout as Lindsey Stevens has the rock inside the 22. Murphy, Windsor. Mills taken down by Tui Niao.
Come on!
Deaver, the prop. Murphy to Windsor. Turnbull. Tackled by Cullen. Still standing up over the gate, pushing backwards. Murphy looking for the ball. Windsor, inside run to the lock. Charlie Hewitt.
That's good ball, that's fine.
Turnbull, 10 meters out. Plenty of bodies on the other side for the SaberCats. Pick and jam for the black and gold. Deaver again. Murphy, Windsor, Kalinisau. Kalinisau staying low at the 5-meter line. Lays it back, Murphy. Good catch by Deaver not to knock that one on. Good push through the gate, Stevens. Warrior advantage being played for Houston. And then a kick just to stop it and bring it back for Houston. Nothing doing, send it out, restart.
Referee says a Warrior player off his feet, playing the ball in the ruck. So,
and Houston will kick for points to take the lead back here, down 2.
20 minutes left.
And Windsor, a confident guy, has missed 2 today. That's not going to stop him, though. He's missed 2 all season coming into this. Into the wind from the right. Not too deep. He'll go for 3 points here. Big D Construction is the official construction sponsor of the Utah Warriors. So Utah has really had some opportunities here. A couple of lineouts lost. One in the attacking half, one in their own half. And the SaberCats have been stout, and it could turn into the lead right here.
Interesting, too, because it's the SaberCats lineout that's been their Achilles heel this year as far as set pieces go. It's Utah that hasn't been able to nail theirs today, and it's really cost them and let Houston back in the game.
Windsor 2 for 4 today. This for the lead. You hear the jeers from the crowd. That's an American thing. And this one is true. Sam Windsor gives the Houston SaberCats the lead, and you can hear the roar from Houston and Austin. Let's just say Texas. Hydration break. Both teams needing it in this heat, and the SaberCats have taken back the lead. We'll step aside.
All right, it is time for social education day.
the SaberCats at 1-6 with no road wins have put up quite the effort today here in Harriman, Utah.
It was interesting. I had a conversation with Jared Whippy, who was injured on this field a few weeks ago, had some surgery to repair a shattered tib fib. And I asked him about last week in the game in the second half, and he said, you know, these guys need to find a little bit of the mongrel in them. In other words, they need to find some aggression and to dominate this second half and to really turn it up. And I think he's onto something, that these guys need to remember where they are, which is down by a point at home with the playoffs on the line, and the whole team needs to collectively step it up.
And this is a great crowd here today to watch this. The Warriors set the domestic U.S. rugby record in the first exhibition of the year with over 9,000 fans at Rio Tinto. It was quite the scene against Glendale. Great crowd here today. And along the lines of Jared Whippy, as we see the Houston lineup, Alf Daniels said, I'm not into excuses. I just want to look at the whole season. But he said, we haven't put our best team on the field once. Paul Lasike, gone with Team USA. Kurt Morath, gone with Tonga. The Whippy twins, Josh and Jared, both broken tibia and fibia in this, not to mention an early preseason injury to Jackson Kaka, who was the starting flanker. So it's been a tough go. Yet the Warriors have been one of the better offensive teams in the league and still with a chance to make the playoffs. Kalinisau. Back run to Esdale, slicing his way through Warriors inside the offensive half for the SaberCats.
Kyle Sumption down on the field. He had actually taken the ball and ran straight at Johnny Linehan and looked like he had gotten the best of Linehan, but Sumption still on the ground.
Being attended to, the captain for the SaberCats, who's from 20 minutes from here. What a run and tackle from Tamalau.
Yeah, it's going to be an advantage, though. I think a no-wrap tackle is what the referee's saying.
And it's going to come back. That's exactly right. An incredible run. I believe it's Joey Yosefa, the former Hawaii running back who played in the NFL, and his old teammate Lance Williams is a flanker on the other side from Hawaii for the Utah Warriors, by the way.
So it wasn't a no-wrap tackle. I believe offsides was the call that the referee made. But still, penalty for the SaberCats. And, you know, less than 20 minutes on the clock. They have the wind at their back. The Utah Warriors not able to use that advantage. And really, most of this second half has been played in the Utah Warriors 50 meters.
And that one at the 5-meter line, so it'll be a line out and a couple of Utah Warriors coming in. It looks like Lote Tui Pelotu will come out. Ray Forrester will come in. We'll also see Les Solowai. We'll see Ben Nichols. So 3 fresh bodies coming in for the Utah Warriors here, trying to make the playoffs. But Austin Elite holding on at the moment in a playoff position should the Warriors score fourth. And look, Ben Nichols will actually come in for Johnny Linehan. So we will have a new kicker for conversions and penalties for the Warriors for the first time in a while. It's been Kurt Morath or Linehan. We're going to see someone else.
Saya Owila coming off, the vice captain for the Warriors. I don't know if he's tired or whether that is his normal gait. Hopefully he's fine too. He's got his right knee all taped up.
Yeah, he's limping.
4 man to ground.
SaberCats knocking on the door. Up a point here with 15 plus to go.
The ball's available.
Connor Murphy, the English scrum half. Kalinisau will dot it between the post. A great run for the Fijian captain and gold medalist as the SaberCats tack on 5 more.
How can you lose track of Osea Kalinisau? He is the most dangerous man on the field for the SaberCats. And look at the set piece move here. Watch Kalinisau. He just gets stood up. It's Dan Paul comes across and freezes the defense. And that dummy line creates the gap for Kalinisau. He's heading back home to Fiji on his way to Suva. His parents have not seen the newborn Kalinisau, little Tui. They're excited to bring him home to the islands, and he'll get a chance to do that in just a week's time. Like we said, Tuva, his wife, the birthday today, and that's a great present for the family. Another try, not an unfamiliar scene for Kalinisau's and tries being scored.
Absolutely. And it is now a 2-score game, and Utah needs a try to get that 4th try bonus point and to keep it within 7 should the Warriors not win, just to try and get into the playoffs right now. So the final 15 certainly dramatic here in Harriman for the Utah Warriors, who are trying to make the playoffs. Austin Elite hoping that the SaberCats can hold on by at least 8, win and by 8+. The Warriors need a try right now to get in a playoff position. Overthrown, and another line out lost by the Utah Warriors. At least 3 in this half.
Changes in personnel, so hard to get that timing down. And Lote Tuipulotu, who we saw a couple of bad throws before he got substituted. And now with the new subs in, timing not working out. Lineouts have been the story for this Utah Warriors side.
SaberCats look like they have more juice at this point. Way less to play for, but are putting together a tremendous performance. Windsor with a freeing kick. Banukolo is going to catch this one backward. Off to Danpati. Danpati, good tackle by Esdale. Support comes. And high tackle, the call on the SaberCats. Could be on Chris Coyle. And the kicker is Ben Nichols. We were waiting to see who it would be. Nichols from Zimbabwe, the older brother of Joan Nichols. Grandpa played in a World Cup for Zimbabwe, and Nichols imploring the team a little bit more energy. Matt Jensen off the bench, a regular starter, has been battling bronchitis. Actually played last week with bronchitis. And at number 19 at lock, look for him in the line out here, the 6'8" former All-American and national champion. Quickly to Lance Williams, that one straight from Ray Forrester. And now the Warriors with something. Elkington, Tucci in space, the former Colorado State defensive lineman. He may go all the way, and he does! What a run from Alex Tucci! The hamstring looks okay to me.
Yeah, the first test of that hamstring passes. I'll tell you what, that is a monstrous play by Alex Tucci. Take a look again, the feed there from Ada Elkington. And then just nobody wants to tackle Alex Tucci. So I certainly wouldn't want to tackle Alex Tucci, but nobody wearing the hoop jerseys do either. Tucci with a little bit of flavor at the end too to dot it down. West Texas A&M a few years ago had 2 defensive linemen. The nose guard, Alex Tucci, the defensive end, Tavita Tamalau. They played together, a pretty interesting defensive line for the West Texas A&M team. And now they're putting it down on the field for the Utah Warriors. That was massive. And now it's only a 1-point game. 11 minutes to play. It is wide open here at Zions Bank Stadium.
And the Warriors right now are in because that was the 4th try. They have the bonus point. Can they stay within 7 or win to get into the playoffs? That was bad news for Austin right there. Good news for the Utah Warriors. And what a run from Alex Tucci. Maybe the try of the week. And now the Warriors crowd into it. And here we go in the final 10. Nui Social is looking for a new road to financial freedom. Visit Nui.social, bigger, better, more proud sponsor of the Utah Warriors, who right now are down a point, 27-26 to the Houston SaberCats. Also, Aviva, pushing boundaries in the digital world where everything is possible. Learn more at aviva.com. Final 10 minutes, do not go anywhere in this one. SaberCats looking to play spoiler. The Warriors right now in a playoff position should they stay within 7 in this game. If they win, they're definitely in, and then we're talking about seeding. And San Diego and Glendale will figure that out later tonight as well. Windsor, Kalinisau, who just had a great run a moment ago. And he gets all the way outside the 22 as the SaberCats try to answer. Murphy Mills inside the 22.
Off feet now, you're off feet. Move the ball.
Vainukolo right on the ball. Murphy, Windsor, inside step. Windsor still has it.
Crowd wanted a knock on there. Adam Leal says no knock on, but there is a penalty. Over the ball, sealing off, says the ref, and a fortuitous break for the Warriors because it looked like the SaberCats had their tails up.
And Josh Anderson will come in for AJ Tuineau. Some fresh legs. Former Utah football player and BYU rugby player.
Yeah, I like this move, and Fatu'u Vainikolo moves back into the centers, and Josh Anderson is a great finisher. I like that move there, and keeping Tanata Lauti on the field.
And if you're the Warriors and you get a try here, you are in business. It makes you a little nervous down one should the SaberCats get a 7-pointer in a conversion. That would be 8, the Warriors would be out of the playoffs. It's that tight right now. Ben Nichols. Vainikolo with some space. Vainikolo into the half. Vainikolo! Tanata Lauti will go all the way! And the Warriors have taken the lead back. What a run!
As though to punctuate my last comments about Vainikolo, the wisdom of Alf Daniels keeping him on the field, putting him back in the centers, and that run by Vainikolo, the patience. He could have gone inside. He was looking for Potty. Watch the run here by Vainikolo. Don Potty's on the inside, and now he just outstrips the defense here, keeps the ball, and the flick just enough to get the ball back to Lauti. And Lauti with the dot down for Utah. Huge try for the Warriors. Massive turn of events here in the last few minutes for the home team.
Ben Nichols will line up the conversion. Every point matters. Warriors winning in. 5 tries now, already with that bonus point for the 4+, hoping to keep the margin 7 or fewer, but not an issue as he misses that one because the Warriors right now are up. 7 minutes to go, and the SaberCats are going to need to put together a couple of scores to keep Utah out of the playoffs at the moment. But like you said, what a turn of events. Huge runs by Alex Tucci, Fatu'u Vainikolo off to Tanata Lauti, and all of a sudden, the Warriors are up 31-27 in a tremendous back-and-forth match. Here as Matt Jensen takes it in, and the Warriors, in front of this tremendous crowd, up 4 late. Lance Williams. Ben Nichols keeps it. Looks for somebody to offload it to. Goes to Brown. Nichols. Vainikolo. Vainikolo into space. Josh Anderson behind him. Vainikolo cuts it back in. Bounces through people. It's like he's dipped in butter. Finally goes down. Nichols. With brother Ben. Elkington. Elkington in space. At the 5-meter line. Utah trying to pour it on and ensure a playoff appearance. A try here would do that. Lauti went for the fake. The fans on their feet. Tucci, the try scorer a moment ago, looks for another. The SaberCats will have none of that. 5 minutes to go. You hear the chants from the crowd. Oh! Tavita Tamalau! Dots it down! No, he says no try. They're going to bring it back.
Yeah, I think he's pinging him for the extra movement. Tamalau tackled on the play there. And then he reloads. So take a look at Tamalau. He stopped short of the line. And now he continues to crawl. He's held on the ground. He's not allowed to continue crawling. He's got to lay that ball back. The desperation tackle there by Connor Murphy. And Tomalau tries to do too much on his own instead of laying that ball back and thwarts the opportunity there for Utah. That certainly would have gone a long way to adding to Daniel's composure.
They're getting in unless Houston pulls out a miracle. And right now, Houston still with the chance to win this game, but the Warriors would need to lose by 8+ to be out at this point. Joey Josefa. Windsor, Kalinisau in space. Lots of space for Esdale on Anderson. Anderson wins the battle. Tucci definitely from the side. And Houston with the penalty. Connor Murphy didn't appreciate it. And Houston still with a chance to win this game, finish on a high note.
Yeah, Utah has to be careful here too, because if the SaberCats are able to sneak a try in here and then find themselves with a few ticks left on the clock in penalty range, you put it on the boot of Sam Windsor. He's been pretty good this year.
Has missed 4 penalties all season, 2 today, which is pretty incredible. Lindsey Stevens will throw it in. The intensity ramps up, 77th minute. 3+ to go. Kyle Sumption seems to be just fine inside the 22. Sumption on the fake. 10 meters out for the SaberCats. And Don Patti takes the ball away. Ray Forrester still alive. Ray Forrester galloping with no help.
Jensen's trying to help him, just couldn't catch him. Numbers on the outside.
SaberCats are ragged, and this could do it. Lauti fakes it, had Anderson. If the Warriors score a try here, that'll probably do it.
Just not enough support there. Credit Don Patti down here. Kyle Sumption with the big run and Patti with the poach. Then the big breakout here. Here's Sumption. And now watch Don Patti come in and do the work there. Over the ball, grabs it from Sumption. Great turnover by the fullback. And then it's Forrester off to the races, can't find any support. And all the way down here, Houston SaberCats somehow get enough defenders back to have a poach of their own and stop the try from the Warriors.
The Warriors have had a couple of opportunities to end this thing. SaberCats putting up good enough defense to stay alive and have a chance here with 2 minutes, under 2 minutes to go. Be a free kick for Sam Windsor.
If I'm Josh Anderson, he worked all the way from the open side wing over to the far side of the field, only to get dummied by Tanata Lauti when he could have gotten the pass.
Come on, bro.
I know, and then Lauti turns it over. Anderson's got to say, buddy, come on, man.
Right now, the Warriors in a playoff position. They'd have to lose by 8+ to not be the next playoff team.
13 and 10 black off. 10 black's already been sub.
Game time, and Carbeck Brewing wants to remind you that nothing goes better with the game than a cold Love Straight Blonde or Hopadillo IPA, proudly brewed in Houston. Line out for Houston. Under a minute to go. Plus a little bit of extra time here.
13 black, 18 black.
Warriors looking good to make the playoffs, but Houston wanting to win the game. So you have multiple different motives for this finish. And the game is paused for the moment. Clock's still going as Adam Leal looks to the sideline.
Yeah, official clock on the wrist of Leal.
See how much extra time will be added, if any. Approaching 80 minutes. Warriors looking good for the playoffs here. Doesn't look like Houston will have enough time to score twice.
Jerem, the story for me here is Utah finally able to find that inner strength at the end of a match. And really, that's the mental switch that was missing last week. They found it this week, and it's going to take them into the playoffs.
We're able to finish and look like they're in business. We are 80+. And a penalty going to bring it back. Lance Williams didn't hear the whistle quite yet. Warriors backing off, but there's not going to be enough time, you would think, for the SaberCats to score twice. Can still win the game if they can put phases together, but the Warriors in business to make the playoffs. Perhaps it's about seeding at this point, whether they're the 3 or the 4. San Diego hosting Glendale tonight. Right now, the Warriors in a 5-point position would pass San Diego with 22 points to 20. San Diego hoping for at least 2 points tonight at this point, but the game isn't over quite yet. Line out for Lindsey Stevens, and the crowd gets on its feet, trying to win the game and get into the playoffs in the inaugural season of Major League Rugby. Lindsey Stevens, successful to Meeson, but we have a whistle. The Warriors, not enough space, I think, for the SaberCats.
Yeah, too much moving around in that SaberCat lineup and just baiting some of the defenders to move around as well. And then as they were doing that, the tunnel closed down. Lindsey Stevens gonna have to do it one more time.
And we are well into extra time here. Any kind of turnover likely ends this one. And a steal from Lance Williams, and that might do it. Warriors still with the ball. Adam Leal letting play go. Matt Jensen.
Everybody in the stands wondering why the ball's not getting kicked into touch right now.
Leal letting this go. So perhaps the SaberCats still another chance to get the ball back and win the game, unless Houston kicks it out. They have opted not, or Utah kicks it out.
You can see Fatou Vainicolo asking the referee how much time left. It doesn't matter, though, because the SaberCats, in the meantime, have turned it over.
They can still win this game. Kalidas out with space. Dropped backwards by Dan Paul, but he goes into touch. And is that it? It's coming back. Adam Leal does not have dinner plans. Knock on from Utah. Houston will have the ball. So look, the Warriors are getting into the playoffs at this point. There's not going to be a chance for 2 scores, but Houston could win this game still and end the season with a victory.
Indeed.
All the fans wondering when this is over on their feet, but what Utah has done is clinched a playoff spot unless Utah or the SaberCats can score twice. I highly doubt that. Expecting the whistle at any moment into multiple extra minutes, past 80 at this point. Adam Leal's got the time on his watch.
Well, basically, it seems like the scenario for me is if Utah keeps Houston from scoring, they're going to play Seattle next week. And if somehow Houston is able to score here, then Utah's going to play Glendale.
Right, so seeding at stake in this sequence, that's a great point. And you don't want to play Glendale in Glendale. 7-0, haven't lost, whether they had 6 Eagles gone or not. And so you're right, if Utah can put up its own kind of seawall, if you will, here, and get the win, they could be the 3 seed and play the Seattle Seawolves instead of the Glendale Raptors next week in Glendale.
Although, you know, for me, nobody wants to play Utah either. You got healthy Paul Lasike, Kurt Morath, if he's on his game. This is the most unpredictable side to me in the MLR, this Utah Warrior group.
And haven't been fully healthy all year. Have some injuries. You're right, they'll get those guys back. Big scrum coming up here. Joey Josefa, tough to tackle. Bern Ale took a chance at it, and the SaberCats trying to win here. SaberCats 10 meters out.
Assumption smells blood.
Little pick and jam. Lots of extra time in this one. Plenty of time for Houston if they can keep possession to win this game. Windsor weaving his way through traffic, finally cut down. And a penalty goes towards Utah. Holding on. And we wait for the final whistle.
Massive turnover there.
And still no final whistle from Adam Leal, who wants another scrum. That one's kicked out. And is that it? And that is it! The Utah Warriors have dramatically defeated the Houston SaberCats 31-27 and clinched a playoff spot in the final week of the regular season. And when I say week, I mean final 10 minutes of the season.
You knew it was going to be close and down to the wire during the MLR this year, and you could see the standings moving around every week. But that was absolute last-minute stuff from this Warrior group.
The Utah Warriors leapfrog into third place ahead of the San Diego Legion, who hosts the Glendale Raptors tonight. Should San Diego get 2 bonus points, they'll win the tiebreaker and be the 3 seed. But as currently constituted, the Warriors are the 3 seed, Glendale the 1, Seattle the 2, Utah the 3, San Diego the 4. Austin is knocked out of the playoffs. The Houston SaberCats finished the season 1-7. Congratulations on their initial season in the league. What an effort from them. Nearly had it here, but the Utah Warriors are the story. We'll be back in a moment as the Warriors clinch a playoff spot and win their 3rd game of the season, 31-27. We'll be back with reaction from Zions Bank Stadium in Harriman. The Warriors win it and clinch a playoff spot in the final moments.
No. Watch out for that microphone.
The final score, 31-27, Warriors over the SaberCats. We knew there'd be some drama here, but my goodness, Brian Hightower, I'm Jeremy Jordan. The Utah Warriors needed at least 2 bonus points to get in. Well, they got the win and the bonus point, so they're in 3rd place. But it came down to the last 5 minutes of this contest.
Yeah, and I would have loved to have Alf Daniels, the head coach of the Utah Warriors, on a heart rate monitor just to see how he was going through that second half. And they finally got it done. We talked about the mental game in the second half, and the difference between last week and this week, they finally put it on the field when they needed to.
What the Warriors didn't do last week, like you mentioned, against NOLA Gold, could have potentially clinched the spot there, lost 46-43. They did here today, so now it becomes a question of what seed the Warriors are. They are the 3 seed now, but San Diego, should it get a win, would be the 3, or the bonus points. But today, the man of the match is Tanata Lauti, presented by Major Smile. He gets the first try of the match and the last one is the one that sent the Warriors into the playoffs.
Absolutely, and Tanata Lauti, just so great in support. He's become so slippery, and he just jinks through a couple defenders, hard to tackle, a lot stronger than he looks. And then, the next try, it was the one that puts him over the top. And, you know, Louty has become one of the most dangerous guys in the MLR, and whoever draws Utah next week is going to have to account for Louty on the wing. He's as good as anybody at dotting him down.
Kurt Marath will come back at fly half from Tonga, and then Paul Lasike will come back for the Utah Warriors. So certainly a dangerous squad, whether it's the Seattle Seawolves or whether it's the Glendale Raptors, will have their accoutrement of USA Eagles as well. It should be a compelling matchup, but that'll do it for us. For Brian Hightower, I'm Jeremy Jordan and our crew. Thanks for watching this one. This was a good one. The Utah Warriors beat the Houston SaberCats 31-27. They are going to the playoffs.